everyone. What's an inner money breakthrough? What's your money type? What is your money story, and how is it preventing you from earning money for all that you're worth? And what's your money type? We're going to learn that and much, much more tonight. So in tonight's Get Off the Couch segment, I'm going to encourage you to be a better person than me. The last 72 hours have been crazy, and it's like all the freaks are coming out at night, and I've just had literally crazy people throwing stuff at me, trying to start some drama, and it really has thrown me for a loop. So I've had to take a deep breath, step back, remember one of the 4 agreements, which is don't take anything personally, and that what they're doing to me has nothing to do with me, but how I react is all about me. And I'm going to confess, I've gotten quite angry. And I don't like that. Being angry is not fun. But I flip that around to say, okay, Julie, there's something in you that still needs to be healed. So what can we work on? What can we let go of and release? So I'm going to encourage you over this next week, if someone really annoys you, you get really angry about something, take a step back, be like, okay, what they're doing to me is not about me, but my response is. So what in me do I need to heal? So work on that week and see what you come up with. All right, let's tell you about tonight's guest. Patricia Missakian is a motivated, passionate coach who specializes in working with heart-centered entrepreneurs and small business owners who are ready to catapult their business to a new level of success. She has 20-plus years experience in the business world and extensive training in various coaching modalities, branding, and marketing. Her background in graphic design and the healing arts give her a unique approach. She is the creator of Soul Frequency Branding, a process where she uses both her creative and intuitive gifts. Patricia also helps business owners break through the money habits and patterns that are holding them back from achieving their full potential. This leads to designing branding, marketing, and systems that clarify step-by-step what is needed to increase income while having time to enjoy a dream lifestyle. Welcome, Patricia.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
And I have to give a shout out. Although Patricia and I haven't met in person, we both did the Clairvoyant, Clear Sight Clairvoyant program that's out in Los Angeles, and both have a mutual love of Judy Nelson, who is our teacher, and who I was honored to have as a guest on the show at the 1-year anniversary, and that's how Patricia found me. So she's a graduate of Clear Sight Clairvoyant, which is, as you know, I've said, I believe, one of the top programs in the world. So welcome, Patricia.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's get started. What do you mean when you talk about an inner money breakthrough?
Having an inner money breakthrough, it's like break through old mindsets that keep us stuck from money breakthrough, so from making more money. If you are struggling to make more money, you wanted to change the mindset that created that in the first place. And for most of us, those mindsets come from a money story, like the story you grow up with. And by breaking through that story and that old mindset, we are able to create a new money story and then achieve the success in the financial that you aim for.
Now, can you perhaps give us a couple of examples of money stories that you've seen with your clients? And perhaps there are some that you've seen, okay, you know what, I see a lot of this going on, but can you share some with us?
Sure, absolutely. It's very common that you see, people see their parents that had, for example, grandparents that were in the war, they were living through the war. So there was, at the time, there was a lot of scarcity. So, for example, that makes people be very afraid of spending money. You might not have it tomorrow. And so these get passed to the generation and generation. And today a person could have this fear of, what if I don't get the job, or what if I don't get more clients? And then it creates that panic, that fear that actually blocks the flow for money to come into your life.
I'm curious. I found that a lot of spiritual people And tell me if I'm wrong, but I would consider this a money story. Either money is evil, or that, you know what, hey, I'm spiritual, I can't make too much money. Now, I personally don't have that problem. I'm spiritual, but I want to make money. So can you talk about that? Am I right? Are those money stories?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it happens a lot with healers and in spirituals, and that is that I think it's like a common maybe mindset about making money, not being spiritual. And what I would encourage someone that has that mindset is, it's, I have a new mindset that is making fabulous money. It's part of my spiritual journey. That would be a great mindset to try to repeat, so you can break through that. My personal mindset is that is everything is spiritual about making more money. It does not make us greedy, uncaring, selfish, or any of that. It actually gives us the opportunity to become extraordinary human being because of the growth opportunity that focus on creating a money breakthrough has for each of you.
Prior to the interview, I'd been thinking about this interview a lot, and we'll get to my type and talk about that later because I took your quiz. But what I feel is, this is what I want to do for a living, and I'm moving towards getting paid for this and making Amnon a millionaire and letting him retire. But he still has to do my show. He doesn't know that, but he's still required to do that. But you can't put a price on healing. So if by watching my show, someone works with you and has a money breakthrough and achieves their dreams, or if they see someone else and they're able to heal some wounds from childhood, that to me is priceless.
Absolutely.
And that is a gift to be able to give to them to help them heal.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
Where do most of our money stories start?
Well, it could start last week. Something could happen that you create a negative mindset. It could start in the womb. When you inside your mom, everything that your mother experiences, the child experiences too. It can start from grandparents, from parents, pretty much from everywhere. But I think most of the stories happen on the first 7 years of a child. It's like we're like little sponges, and today our subconscious mind will run sometimes with those mindsets of what you observe when you are a little child.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say there is some interesting stories about that I hear from clients,
You touched on something that I'd like you to address, and yeah. I kind of know this because we've gone through Clear Sight, but I'd love for you to talk about this or offer your opinion. But for instance, ancestral. Can we be having ancestral, whether it's from 10 generations ago or our grandparents, things that are maybe that we didn't, happen to us in the first 7 years, but we have this money issue?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's actually a story. It's not really related to money, but it's interesting that it has everything to do with that. I think I read somewhere this woman, she was making Thanksgiving dinner, and every year she would cut the ends off her turkey. And one year her husband was asking her, why do you cut the ends of the turkey? And she's like, well, that's how you do a turkey for Thanksgiving. And she was like, that's how my mom did, that's how her mother did, that's how her grandmother did, that's how we do it. And in that day, her grandma came, her mom and her grandma came, and the husband asked them, why do you cut the ends of the turkey? And the grandmother was saying that, oh, my mom always did like that because we didn't have pot big enough to fit the whole turkey. So you cut the end. So the same thing with money. Sometimes we are, she was doing something, even though she had a bigger oven and a bigger pot, she was still cutting the end of the turkey because of something that got passed through generation. And especially with money, we don't question. We just assume that that is true. A lot of people heard, money doesn't grow in trees. I think a lot of people, relate to that. Things like that get passed through generations from generation. And then we are running our lives from that old mindset that do not belong to us.
And we've got a couple questions already for you on chat, Patricia, so I want to get to them. The first is from Leopold, who is similar to what I just asked, but Leopold asks, can past lives affect our money issues?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's something that you are running a mindset that you don't even know, you don't even remember where it's coming from. And absolutely. I think everything can influence.
And another question from Corporate Raider, who asks, what happens in years 1 to 7 that affects our money life as adults?
Well, depends of what that little child experience that could affect her life as an adult. And there is so many scenarios. There is the scenario of mom that work really, really hard, no husband, mom work really hard to take care of the child. So the child will see that struggle, and that could create, many different mindsets. It could create a mindset, one is coming to my mind, for example, you create a mindset that it's a struggle to make money. That's what the child observed from their parents.
But is there something in years 1 to 7 that you had mentioned earlier that you have found, the majority of issues are between 1 and 7? Is there a reason for that age range? For instance, why would it be perhaps more ingrained if they learn something at 6 than say at 15?
Yeah, because it's kind of like, it's almost like you're still attached to your parents. So it's once after 7 you start having more of your own thoughts, but between 1 and 7 you still kind of trying to understand everything, and you're absorbing everything as it's your own. You kind of almost feel like everything is in your own, and it gets engraved in your subconscious mind. Does that make sense?
Yeah, excellent. Perfect. I think that's what Corporate Raider was asking. Now we have another question here from Warrior Spirit. Great question. How do we break old patterns?
Oh, how do you break old patterns? You break old patterns by doing something different. Meaning, every time there is a mindset, let's say, let's say a person says that they need to work very hard in order to make money. So first thing you do, is to basically look back and see where's that starting from, which it's actually the first model of money breakthrough. It's healing the money legacy, seeing where that mindset's coming from. And then there might have some forgiveness to be done. I would say that will be the next step. And then once that is done, then a person should focus on creating accountability, action. Like, what can I do now that I know what it is? I know what the mindset is. I'm working on letting go of that. So now, where I want to go? What is the action that I want to take? And then you want to work on the action and claiming and being accountable, so that you can then let go of the mindset and create new mindsets that are now empowering your goals.
In your experience, have you found something that can be consistent, or patterns in working with clients, that there's an opportunity for a breakthrough? Maybe they are really struggling and then something happens and then that allows them to break through?
Yes. What happens is people keep repeating the patterns. And So once they realize what is the mindset behind the patterns, what is keeping them stuck, that's the opportunity to break that cycle. So, like for example, I have this client, and she just didn't want to look into, she had this pile of clutter and bills on her work desk, and there was a lot of for her there was a lot of mindset of being angry with bills, being angry to have to pay money. There's something in those lines. And then her clients, clients files and work files, it was all mixed up in the pile. So for her, what helped her breakthrough was actually start getting organized and paying those bills and separating those bills from the clients. So, separating, because it's pretty much anger, all together. And for her was, starting to do the things that she didn't want to do. And that's what's the breakthrough for her.
I know. Go ahead.
Well, in their line, that is usually the thing you drag to do the most has the most power for a breakthrough. So usually what you don't want to do, it's what you have to do so you can break through, kind of.
I am on all my checks, I write a heart and write thank you.
Beautiful.
And every check, just to have gratitude, because I'd love your thought on this. You talked about it earlier. I have a couple questions going through my head now. One, it's like, this was a great example with the woman and all the bills on her desk. Have you noticed that sometimes when people reach rock bottom or then that's an opportunity for a breakthrough? Before I started my business, I was at the worst job ever. I mean, I called it Crazy Town. I used to joke that you could take one of those crystal sound bowls and it would explode because it was such negative energy. But because I'd been treated so poorly, it broke me down to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm starting my own business. What's the worst that can happen? It can't be worse than this.
Absolutely. Yes. That is a great opportunity to break through. Yeah, there is nothing to lose. Absolutely.
And you also just mentioned earlier, and it made me think of this when you were talking, talk a little bit about flow and how it's important for abundance to come in and out of your life, because someone said to me the other day, you're stepping on your abundance hose. You're just squishing it down and money's trying to come through and it's like, Row. So talk a little bit about flow.
Flow. That reminds me of like one of the first thing that I coach my clients is which has to do with flow, is like observing how you feel. How are you feeling regarding money during your day? Like, do you feel when you think, whenever you think about the bills you have to pay, or jobs or clients, or whatever, are you feeling contraction? Meaning feelings of contractions would be like, are you feeling worried? Are you feeling fear? Are you feeling guilt? So that would be feeling contraction. Or are you feeling expansion? When you feel expansion regarding money, you're feeling secure, you're feeling gratitude, you feel trust. So, I think for the flow, whenever a person feels any of those contraction feelings, I always advise, do something, like to break through that contraction. That is actually a study that we only can have one feeling at a time, even though sometimes, especially women, we bounce back and forth, like Andrew said, but there is actually a study that our brains are wired to have only one feeling at the time. So, and this is a great news, because as soon as someone is feeling contraction, what they have to do is do something to snap out of it, start having some sort of expansion feelings. And I don't say like, not think about it at the denial standpoint, but as soon as a person feels contraction, I advise to say, okay, what is the one thing, what would be one step that I can do to start feeling expansion? Could be make an affirmation, or could be call someone that you feel that can lift you up, or could be, look for a job, or, send an email to your clients, whatever, a little action that can get you out of that contraction feeling so you can get on the flow.
Great. Now, we're a couple questions here on chat, Patricia, so I want to get to those. And you kind of touched on that, what you're just speaking about. But Heaven Sent says, growing up, I thought the only way to make money was to be dishonest. I want to change that.
Mm-hmm. So I would ask, like, where is that coming from? Like what? Well, first I would ask, like, what is dishonest for you? And there would be a question I ask for her, and then and just ask yourself, what would be one thing you could do today to change that would not be dishonest? So what can you do that would be the opposite of that? Maybe one of the first steps would be, like, think about what is the last person that you felt you were dishonest with, and then call the person and have like a heartfelt apology, or explain what, it's all about, changing what caused you to do that in the first place. So do one step to start going the opposite direction if you're not happy with the direction that you are going.
Okay, we've got a couple more questions here. Money Mad asks, is greed good? Not dishonesty, but greed.
He's asking if greed is good. Well, I think each person is supposed to judge that. What is greed? And so it's like, when I work with a client, I have no judgment. So, my goal is to help them break through what's keep them stuck. So I really have no judgment. I just have an act of curiosity, and my curiosity will ask, what is greed for you? And then work with that.
Okay, and Rachel Z asks, why do we sabotage ourselves?
Oh, that is the sabotage comes from that is always like a payoff by, even though a person do not want to be stuck, they keep doing the same actions and then keep on the cycle, which they keep sabotaging themselves. But there is some sort of unconscious payout for that self-sabotage. And for every person would be a different reason. I heard people that, unconsciously they keep sabotaging themselves because they don't want to make more money than their parents, or because they don't want to put someone else down, sometimes a husband or a wife, so that there is so many reasons a person can self-sabotage and keeps doing it. So by realizing what it is, that's when the opportunity to start changing arrives.
I think that's excellent. I'm going to use a personal example, not with money, but with romance. Yeah. I always wanted intimacy, but the truth of the matter, the subconscious thing that sabotaged me is I was afraid of it. And so I would, draw these men to me that didn't want to be in a relationship or could only give so much. And when I finally broke through that and, it was like I'm jumping in with 2 feet, and then I met someone. And I met, the right person for me. So that's just an example of, as much as I wanted it, I had my other stuff going on subconsciously. So until I resolved that, I wasn't able to move forward and get what I want.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we've got another question here from Sally J. Can you see someone's true calling or career?
If they're ready for it, I would think yes. There is a lot of Yeah, there is a lot of that, there is time for everything. So absolutely.
Well, I know I can talk since we both did ClearSight. I don't know if this
Yeah.
happened to you, Patricia, but part of the ClearSight program is people come from out of the street, and to learn to develop your skills, you do cold readings. And I've had particular instances where I tend to hear my intuition, and I heard, you can't say that, or they're not ready. I mean, that's
Yeah.
happened to me with friends, like, don't even go there. So I think that that's important and very ethical, and it's, that you're doing
Yes.
that, and it's important to know. So, talk a little bit. I took this, but talk a little bit about the quiz that you developed.
Oh, the quiz. Well, we have basically. I started noticing that a lot of the mindsets and how people feel about money and the actions that people take relating to how they deal with money. There is like mainly like 5 emotions that are behind the choices we make with money. So those emotions are love, security, status, recognition, and value. So basically, the quiz, by taking the quiz, you can kind of determine what to be the thing you are most tending to. And it doesn't mean that one person, it's only one, I think we all have all of those 5 emotions. However, there is one that is most predominant, that can cause that.
Can you again go over and maybe briefly discuss the 5 and tell us a little more definition? Yeah. When I took the quiz, was security, which was no shocker to me. I wasn't surprised by that, but maybe for people who don't know, if you could just briefly define or give us more information on each of the money types.
Of course. Security, usually a person that is from security doesn't like spending money, saves for no reason. There is a lot of micromanagement. There is a lot of fear about tomorrow, about what's going to happen, and because of that you overwork. So that would be security. The opposite of security would be status. So status is usually the person that makes $1 and spend $2. So, and usually the status card, the status money type, makes the security people like crazy, like, oh, how can they do that? So what else? There is love. The love, a person that has that emotion of love, that is the prevalent, it almost feels like there is a hole inside of them. So they will buy things to fill their void. And usually people from love would get into that because they just buy and they just keep buying to fill something, but it never fills it up. So then we have value. The value emotion is people that have the tendency for the value. They work really hard and they give to the point of resentment. And even though others do give them value, they don't feel that others give them value. And then, they feel like they're passed by opportunities. They feel that other people don't value them. Usually a person of value that gives, without have the money, will get in debt to help someone that owe money to someone else. Usually the person of value, tend to get relationships with people that spend a lot of money too. There is a lot of, so that, there is so many things for each of them. This is just a little tip of the iceberg, but basically, that is, it's kind of like the shadow side. And then there is things you can do to change that. And then there is opportunities to break through, by doing the opposite. It's one of the things you can do.
As you were talking, I had another question pop into my head because I know you work, you do coaching in individuals, but if a couple came to you and like you mentioned, if one was a security and one was a spender, would you be able to work with them to so that they could work as a team?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and people complement each other. There is a reason for everything. But it's like none of those emotions are like evil. Like, oh my gosh, I have this card. Oh, I should have the other one. It doesn't mean that, because there is levels. And what I said is just like the like 80 or 80. People are in the middle, but there is opportunities for everybody to see where they are and what they're doing that's causing it, and what are the things that they can do to change that.
And I want to remind everyone, we've been good here on chat. We've gotten lots of wonderful questions. You can chat a question, and I'm happy to ask Patricia, or call us at 919-518-9773, or Skype at Computers 2K Voice. So how can someone figure out what their money type is?
I actually have a little quiz on my website, and all you have to do is type www.masteryourmoneytype.com, and that will take, you sign up on my newsletter, and that will take you to take the quiz, and so you'll find out what it is.
And we've got a follow-up question here from Warrior Spirit. Should we find the same money type as ourselves as mates? Because I got to tell you, if Tony spent more than he made, I'd go crazy. But what say you, the expert?
Not necessarily. I would say, I think there is no rule for that. It doesn't really matter. There is opportunity to work together. Whatever money types people have. That is good side and bad side. Me and my husband, we are both security, so it's interesting. But it doesn't really matter. As long as each person is doing the best to work on and growing and improving, there is really no, you don't really have to.
Why is it important for us to know our money type?
Well, if you find what is your money type, and then there is a couple of there is a certain things that you are doing in your money type, there are disempowering actions. So by finding out your money type, you can give yourself permission to break through your next, break through those actions that you're doing, and then achieve your next level of income. For example, a person that is security, one of the things that security, cards has, like I said before, it has that fear of tomorrow there will be no money, or, tomorrow nobody's going to call, there will be no clients, money is not going to come in. So, again, it's thinking about the contraction and expansion. Start working on, as soon as that thought come in, what can I do to change that thought? And what can I do to trust, for example, other thing that I haven't spoke before about the security is the security card has the tendency to want to do everything by themselves. So it's, it does not like spending money. So a person from security might, that has a business that has a potential to grow, might be right now stuck, not growing as much as she could because she's not hiring people to help her. For a person to grow, you need to hire people that can help you, that can take you there. Hire someone to answer your phones, hire someone to, whatever you need right now to support your business. So there is a lot of that, that fear. So you're not doing it. So that's one of the things that a person from the security can do to, that would be.
I think that's an outstanding point, because I see that happen more often than not. And I always say to people, you're the expert at what you do. Hire the expert where you aren't, and I just tweeted about this today, to surround yourself with people that are loyal and experts so you can delegate and not have to worry about everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, how do we learn how to master our money type? Because it's kind of like you're talking about the shadow side, because there's a good thing a positive side of being secure. You're not going to go into debt, so that's a plus. So it's more of the shadow side. How do we learn how to master that?
Well, taking more of the actions that will change the scenario. And those are the little steps, for the security hiring cards, for the status. A lot of people that are from the status, they usually have a denial, of looking at their bills or paying their bills, So the more what are you keeping you stuck, again, the things that you don't wanna do has the most opportunity for breakthrough. So by knowing your money type, by recognizing, the potentials in, the advantages and disadvantage, work with that so you can master it.
Now, I want you to talk a little bit about, explain what a prosperity reading is and what you do for that and how you use your intuition when working with clients.
Well, with the prosperity reading, that is something that I learned on Clearsight, and I love doing it. And once I did the money breakthrough, I figured it would be like a great add-on. Sometimes, like someone asked a question before, it could be a past life that we have no idea where is that coming from. So with the prosperity reading, you can actually access that. We can look at past lives, or we can, basically I'll use my intuition to see what happened in the past, this life or other life, or whatever is causing that mindset that is keeping people stuck. It's the same thing. I like looking at the caregivers, the person's caregivers, and then see what is the picture that comes into my mind, and then I'll tell the client, like seeing whatever happened, whatever the scenario was, mom, dad, that whole family dynamic that really have a role of what's going on. So anyways, it's kind of like the same thing. By looking at it, it has the opportunity, by looking at it and talking about it, start making things start moving. And that's, one of the first steps to change.
Can you discuss the 5 money breakthrough modules?
Sure. I spoke a little bit about it before. The first model is healing the money legacy. So what I was just talking about, like figuring out what was the money legacy, what is the money story, why is the mindset keeps showing up. So the first, we're going to work on that, healing the money legacy. The next model is forgiving that, looking back and see, that I think 95% of my clients, there is something in their past that has some sort of resentment, money that people owe you, people owe money to you. So and that causes a lot of guilt and resentment. So, it's kind of like clearing that up. You wanted to clear that up so you can have a blank state. So going back and seeing what's in the past that is blocking it, and how, working on forgiving that. Could be something simple as one of my clients, her grandfather, to make her save money. He went through some tough times. So for him, it was very important for him. He wanted to teach her to save money, but that created for her like an enormous sense of fear regarding money. So she had to go in and forgive him, even though what he did, it was to her beneficial, but for her, it was something that she had to forgive. Then the next model is actually focusing accountability. It's a difficult word for me. Accountability in action, like, actually look at, do those things that usually you don't want to do, so we can work through that. Then we work on claiming your money power. There's some cool exercise about that, to kind of, claiming and choosing and focusing what you want. And then you finally review your sacred relationship with money.
Okay, now we've got a question here from Corporate Raider. Sounds like you are saying we have to confront our fears when you say we need to do what we dislike the most. What are some tricks for doing this?
Some doing it, but tricks are like, I think there is a payoff on doing it. You are going to that's how you break through, by facing it. But there is easy steps for it, like easy practical actions, regarding like things like paying attention of the money. A lot of people don't pay attention of the money that's coming out of fear. So that will be one thing, facing it. If you don't pay your bills on time, start paying your bills on time, and doing a little by little, you are going to get there. But basically, yeah, you gotta do it.
Now, why do so many of us undercharge? And I think this is especially true when people tend to be spiritual. Again, that goes to their deeper issue, maybe if they're thinking money is evil, but it's just not within the spiritual community. I mean, I'm a small business owner, and I've seen people, I've been like, oh my gosh, you need to definitely charge more for what you're doing.
That has to do with self-worth. You don't, yeah, it's like that's a mindset of fear. That's a mindset of a person thinking they are not good enough, or there's a mindset of maybe that person that is undercharging, she'll think that she has to charge her rates low because everybody else is doing it. And so what I would advise that person is that start focus on start focus on what she knows, and focus on that. So as soon as that person starts valuing, giving the value to it, other people will. So I think it starts, it has, besides the spiritual issue, it's also the self-worth and whatever that, that can come to the person's mind. But most things are what other people are charging, and not giving that person, not giving herself the value that she deserves.
I want to remind everyone you can chat a question for Patricia, or you can call in at 919-518-9773 or Skype it Computers 2K Voice. So then would you say, and you kind of just touched on it, that self-worth is related to net worth?
Absolutely. Yes. It's one of my program, how to increase your self-worth and your net worth. Once you realize that you are worth, once you realize that, then other people will, and then the person, as you see yourself, and as other people see yourself as you see yourself, then you can easily, feel integrity of charging more, and consequently that's going to increase your net worth. Absolutely.
Now, can you talk a little bit about having gratitude and what you tell clients as far as maybe tithing or whatever you want to call it? But I think it's important for money to flow in. Money also needs to flow out.
Yes. It's like, if you can't want to come in here, and hold tight on this hand. It does have to have a flow. Having gratitude, I'm a big believer on that. One of the things I do, every morning is, with gratitude, I write 5 things. I feel grateful for this. I feel grateful for that. I start my day with gratitudes. So
and I also, something that I do, I call my Oprah voice, where I get all excited. Like, we'll talk about this. I'm doing a workshop next week. I'm just moderating it, but it's on attracting and finding love. So, I had a couple tickets coming today. I was like, woohoo! Yeah. And, like, do my little dance, and just to show gratitude that I'm grateful for everyone who's buying a ticket and is supporting me. And so I feel the gratitude, and I think that that's really important as well.
Yes, is the expansion. You want to feel expansion all the time. And as soon as the contraction come in, like, let's think about the expansion. Let's look at what you're grateful for. And exactly.
We've got a question here on chat for you from Bobby Blue Eyes. What is different about wealthy men and self-made men? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Wealthy men and self-made men. What does that mean?
Maybe Bobby Blue Eyes, if you could maybe clarify a little more. Maybe I'm going to try to guess until we get Bobby to write a response. So perhaps say, what's the difference for someone, say, who's a Rockefeller, who's born into wealth and has that money, and money's never an issue, and someone...
What is wealthy?
Oh, excuse me. My producer is telling me that I have to scratch all that. We're going to start over. Bobby Blue Eyes asked, and sorry about that, Bobby, what is different about wealthy self-made men? So say a non-Rockefeller, he's self-made, he's determined, you know, some of these maybe tech people that maybe didn't have the education or the money, but they made themselves wealthy. What's the difference about them, or maybe some characteristics you've noticed?
Well, I think what's coming to my mind is one of the things that I touch upon, I teach, is to if you're not there yet, look at someone that is, who you want to be. In neurolinguistic programming, we do a lot of that. You wanted to, you don't want to be someone. You wanted to see, if you want to be like a millionaire, you wanted to look at a millionaire and start noticing what it is that they do so you can become that. So I think that's what he means by self-made, right? So I guess if you're born rich and if you're not born rich, but if you become rich, I think it has to do with that he's asking, like, what, so it's like looking at, it's called, in neurolinguistic programming, this is called modeling. You model, you see what the person do, what the person wears, how the person talks, and you start acting as if. And that's actually one of the first steps to get there. It starts to act as if.
I think that's excellent, but it just made another question pop into my head. So what do you say about, I guess, like, if you're a Rockefeller, you've just made so much money that unless you spend like Michael Jackson, there's no way that, they're ever going to run out of money. But have you ever worked with wealthy clients who have money issues and have struggled and that you've needed to help them?
Yes, that happens because, again, I have clients with, they make, and they just don't know where the money goes. People that make over 200,000 a year and they just have no money. It happens. You just, and then one of the things that a person that's happening to them is start to look and usually if that's happening to someone, I can bet that they are not looking where the money is. They don't look at the bills. The bills just pile up and they just spend, and they spend the things that they don't really feel that they should, but they keep spending. So that happens a lot. People that make a lot of money, but they just have no money.
Oh no!
That's one of our sound effects. Amnon likes to have fun. Now we have a follow-up question from Bobby. What are personality traits of self-made men? How should I be thinking, or what should I be doing to acquire wealth?
Well, like I said before, like, think of someone that it's in the place that you want to be. That will be the first step. So, study that person. That is, you can study Steve Jobs, or study that. See what are the things that, and study different people and see what are the things that they did to get where you wanted to get. And then also work on yourself, what are work on expansion and contraction, work on your mindsets, what are you doing that is not let you get there. So there is a lot of, I think the first step would be studying those people. Studying, it's very interesting.
Now, Bob, I think you've touched on it, but just in case you have anything else to add, Bobby follows up with, what is the millionaire mindset? Is there anything different, or it sounds like I want to talk now, actually. Well, do you have any comments on that about a millionaire mindset?
Making money is part of my spiritual journey. It could be, let me see, what could be a millionaire mindset? Making money is part of the millionaire mindset. Could be something simple as, what, I'm a millionaire. Nothing that comes to my mind, but I really like making money as part of my spiritual journey.
I know it's a lot. We've had a lot of questions tonight, but I want you to now talk a little bit more about your class and what Patricia's been kind enough. She is setting up a class just for Reawaken Your Brilliance viewers, and it was kind enough to offer special. And so talk about the class. I'm going to put the link here for people to sign up, but tell them about it and all the good stuff that they need to know.
Sure. It's a group coaching. It's 8-week group coach. In the class, we're going to work with money clutter. The first class with, start like clearing the money clutter. And which, the money clutter class, it has some very easy and practical steps that you can do, like, as soon as we finish the class. And there is some more emotional thing that we can work on. And then the 7 remaining classes, we're gonna touch on the 5 models, which is Heal Your Money Legacy, Forgiving Debt, Creating Accountability and Action, Claiming Money Power, and Revealing the Sacred Relationship with Money. And we're gonna have a lot of Q&As during the class. The classes are over the phone. What else? So the address for the class, it's my website, innermoneybreakthrough.com, and then if you type /RB, you actually get $100 off if you sign up between today and next Wednesday. So I'm offering Reawaken our business, our Brilliance listeners, $100 off. And also for the first 5 people that sign up now, I will gift you with a private session with me.
Fantastic. So you've got that. So you have until next Wednesday. So do it before our next show. $100 discount for the 8-week group coaching sessions, and the first to sign up, 5 people to sign up, get an additional coaching session with Patricia. And if you've been struggling or looking to take your business to the next level, or whatever it is, your career that you want to find your inner money breakthrough, I'm going to encourage you to check that out. And I will put this link up also on Facebook and Twitter, and we have the icons right here at the top of the page. You can follow us if you're listening on the radio, and I don't want you grabbing for a pen if you're driving or anything, and write it down. And we'll get you more information on that. But again, $100 discount until next Wednesday. First 5 sign up, get an additional one-on-one coaching session with Patricia. Now, there are a couple questions I ask all my guests. The first is, what would you say to someone who's struggling right now? I mean, the economy's tough. You're a money coach and an expert, but maybe someone's in a bad relationship. They're just really at a challenging place in their life. What advice would you have for them?
I would remind them about the feelings of contraction and expansion. Whatever they start feeling, that feeling of contraction, try to do one thing that can change the scenario. Calling someone, looking for advice, or and then also that is one thing I teach in my first money clutter class, which is the 1% rule. Because sometimes when you want to go from A to Z, right? It's a little overwhelming. Here's where I am, here's what I want to get. So my 1% rule is focus on 1% improvement every day. So every day, you know, when you wake up, you do, you know, be grateful for 5 things, and then say to yourself, okay, today my 1% rule will be writing a resume or writing a newsletter, you know, if you have your own business or if you're looking for work, you know. So that'll be my 1% rule. And then tomorrow I'm going to go and I'm going to mail that resume, or I'm going to go to a couple places that I know that, you know, offer that I can be hired. Or tomorrow you mail that. So if you focus on 1% a day, my 1% rule, you know, after a short period of time, you're going to create like this tremendous transformation simply by focusing 1% a day.
I love that. Now, this is something similar follow-up question, but I'm all about getting off the couch. So what one thing can people do at the end of the show, tonight before bed, or first thing in the morning to reawaken their brilliance?
Reawaken the brilliance. I would say these things I said before, and especially be aware of the negative thoughts, especially regarding money. And then again, take steps to change that. What, you know, as soon as you have that negative thought, you're like, hey, here. So at the same time, you know, what can I do to change that right now? What would be 1% action I can do to change that and focus on that?
All right, fantastic. So, Patricia, can you tell us your sites again? 1 for the class, and 2, I know you'd mentioned earlier, for the money type quiz, and where we can find out more information.
Yeah. The money type quiz address is www.masteryourmoneytype.com. And the classes are www.innermoneybreakthrough.com/RB, like Reawaken Your Brilliance.
Fantastic. All right, outstanding. So you have it all now, folks. If you want a chance to work with Patricia, I'd encourage you to hop on it right now. And the first 5 of you get that extra coaching session, and for everyone else, $100 off. So if you've been struggling with money, now's an opportunity. Again, I went to the Clear Sight Clairvoyant program. It's wonderful, and Patricia's going to use her skills to help you have an inner money breakthrough. And thanks for joining us this evening, Patricia.
Thank you.
And I want to remind all our viewers in the Raleigh, Chapel Hill, and Durham area, next Tuesday is Finding and Attracting Love. If you're looking for a romantic relationship, having more loving relationships in your life, please check it out. I listened to the panel last year, and I'm in love. Tuesday, February 5th, bring a friend and save. If you go to reawakenyourbrilliance.com, you'll find out more information. We still have some tickets left. So hope to see you there next Tuesday. And special thanks to Delta Force Technologies for being our Thrive Series sponsor. It can handle all your hosting and computer needs. All right, everyone. We'll see you here next week. Bye now.
Bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Sundays 9 a.m. till noon. Carrie's Psychic Cafe with Carrie Silkowski, Sundays 8 till 9 p.m. Health In with Debbie Bruck, Mondays 11 a.m. till noon. Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Mondays 8 till 9 p.m. Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, Wednesdays, 9 till 10 p.m. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by ThatVidBlasterGuy.com, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.